We've all probably done it. You're swimming in the ocean, you're having a great time, and for just a second, you open your eyes underwater. It feels like no big deal, right? But what's actually happening in that single moment? Well, the reality is a lot more unsettling than you'd probably guess.
Let's just imagine it for a second. You're out there, floating in the ocean. The sun's out, the water feels perfect. You take a breath, dip your head under the surface, and you open your eyes. What happens? In that exact instant.
I mean, on the surface, this feels totally harmless. People do it in swimming pools all the time, don't they? Yeah, it stings a little, your eyes might get a bit red, but that's about it. But here's the thing you have to remember. The ocean, well, that's a completely different world.
Think about it. A pool is basically a controlled environment. It's clear, it's filtered, it's predictable. The ocean, on the other hand, is the total opposite. It's incredibly salty, it is absolutely teeming with unseen life, and it's full of unknowns. And that massive difference is where our story really gets started.
So, the very first thing that hits you isn't some big mystery. It's a physical sensation you probably felt before. But the reason why you feel it, that's pure biology. The second you open your eyes, bam, you feel that sharp, burning sting. Why? Because the amount of salt packed into seawater is way, way higher than the salt in your own natural tears. Your eyes instantly go on the defensive, flooding themselves with moisture. But honestly, against the whole ocean, it's a losing battle. And the immediate result of that saltwater invasion? Your vision just goes. Everything becomes this foggy, distorted blur. For all practical purposes, you are now completely blind in a totally alien environment.
But that initial sting and the blurry vision, trust me, that's just the opening act. The real danger is what you can't see, and what is now getting direct access to one of the most sensitive parts of your entire body.
Trillions. Just let that number sink in for a moment. That's the estimated number of microscopic organisms in the ocean, and they're surrounding you at all times. The ocean isn't just water. It's basically a living soup.
So what are we talking about here? We're talking about this incredible microscopic mix of bacteria, drifting plankton, and even, invisible parasites. And the moment your unprotected eyes are exposed, you've pretty much just opened the front door and invited all of them right in.
Okay, and here is where it gets a little unsettling. See, most of these tiny creatures will just float on by, but some of them are actively looking for organic material to feed on. And the surface of your eye, well, that counts. You won't feel it happening at first, but later on, you might get that scratchy, irritated feeling that you just can't seem to shake.
And that's a problem. Because what starts out as a simple irritation from these unseen invaders, that can quickly, and I mean quickly, escalate into something far more serious.
In some cases, certain types of bacteria can cause a really nasty infection. It might start small, just a bit of redness, but it can progress rapidly to intense pain, serious swelling, and even temporary blindness. And in the most severe, though thankfully rare cases, it can lead to permanent damage to your cornea. And you should know, the risk isn't the same everywhere you go. If you happen to be swimming near populated coastlines or in water that looks kind of murky, the danger level just skyrockets. In those places, you're potentially exposing your eyes to raw sewage, industrial runoff, and a whole host of dangerous pathogens your body has absolutely no defense against.
So, we've covered the physical threats and the biological threats. But there's another layer to this whole thing, the psychological impact of being blind in a place where, let's be honest, you are definitely not the apex predator.
See, even if you could somehow tolerate the sting, you still wouldn't be able to see clearly. And that's just a matter of physics. Salt water actually bends light differently than air does. Our eyes simply are not designed to focus in that medium, which is why everything just turns into a fuzzy, indistinct mess.
So with your vision totally compromised, your brain starts trying to fill in the blanks. You see a shape move in your periphery. What was that? Was it just a piece of seaweed floating by? A school of fish?
And this is the truly terrifying part. Because you can't focus, your depth perception is completely gone. That shadow you saw in the distance could be nothing, or it could be something very large and very, very close. Your brain starts guessing, and sometimes those guesses are absolutely terrifying.
Your primal instincts just take over. Your heart starts pounding in your chest. A feeling of profound vulnerability washes over you, because in that moment, you are visually helpless in an environment you have zero control over.
So why?
Why are we so completely ill-equipped for this experience? Well, the final piece of the puzzle brings it all together with one simple biological fact.
It's simple, really. Fish and other marine animals evolved for this. A lot of them have a protective membrane covering their eyes. Their entire optical system is built for water. Our eyes, on the other hand, are designed exclusively for air. We have absolutely no natural protection whatsoever.
So you see, the longer you force your eyes to stay open underwater, the worse things get. The irritation from the salt and all that microscopic life just builds and builds. Your ability to see anything useful drops to pretty much zero, and your risk of a serious infection just keeps ticking upwards. It's a whole cascade of negative effects.
Which really brings us back to the final, crucial question. When you consider the sting, the blurriness, the unseen invasion of bacteria, and that deep psychological vulnerability, next time you're tempted to take a quick peek underwater, you've really got to ask yourself, is it actually worth it? Because in an environment your body was never built for, sometimes the smartest thing you can do is just keep your eyes closed.